Hello YouTube! Recently we hit 9,000 subscribers on the channel. Thank you to all those who subscribe and enjoy the content, yada yada yada. And to celebrate, I will be giving away to 5 lucky people Blessing of the Welkin Moons. Now, if you are F2P or like you want to remain F2P, I'm so sorry. I really don't know what else I can give. But yeah, I'll be giving 5 people Blessing of the Welkin Moons. To qualify, you just have to comment below on this video whether you are going to pull Ganyu or not gonna pull Ganyu, or like why you like Ganyu or don't like. You know what? Just comment something Ganyu related, you know, just don't listen to me, like just comment something Ganyu related. There are no other requirements. You don't have to be subscribed to the channel or like following me on a specific place, but if you do enjoy the content, I would very much appreciate if you do subscribe. Now in your comment, please do not leave your UIDs in the comments. I don't want people just throwing UIDs in the comments. Some people may be comfortable with it, other people might not be comfortable with it, so please don't just leave your UIDs in the comments. If you do get picked, I will reply to your comment personally, and then I'll probably ask for a direct means of contact, either Discord, Twitter, or Instagram. Make sure you have one of these 3: Twitter, Discord, Instagram. I'll message you directly from there, and then you can send me your UID via those private messages. I just don't want UIDs like littered all over my comments. Please don't do that. This giveaway will last until, I don't know when I'll leave it up until. Check the pinned comment below. Of the remaining details that I'm not saying here will be there. Anyways, thank you all once again for 9,000 subscribers. I'm incredibly grateful. And onwards to 10k. Don't worry, I'll do it like a bigger giveaway at 10k or something. Alright, enjoy the rest of the video. So Ganyu's banner is right around the corner, and with that comes the dilemma of whether one should pull her or not. Now, if you like Ganyu, you should just pull her regardless. This video is not meant to help those who are already interested in pulling Ganyu. Instead, this video is looking at her position from a meta perspective. A lot has changed since Ganyu's initial dominance during her release, and she may not be quite the must-pull DPS that she used to be. I started playing in version 2.4, and Ganyu was my first 5-star DPS character, as well as one of the characters I used to achieve my very first 36 stars in Spiral Abyss. I've played her relatively extensively, so I'm here to cover a few points on whether you should or should not pull her. Firstly, I want to touch on playstyle. Unless you have Ganyu at C6, her main DPS playstyle is going to be of the charge shot variety, which is a deal breaker for a lot of people. Having this charge shot gameplay poses 2 main problems. Firstly, it just feels slow to play. Compared to more modern bow characters like Yoimiya or Yelan, who have an auto attack playstyle where you just spam left click, holding your charge shot for nearly 2 seconds does feel a bit draggy for some. Another great example to compare to is Tignari, who happens to also have a charge shot gameplay, but he feels a lot faster and smoother thanks to his auto targeting as well as lower charge shot time. Secondly, having to use charge shots means you probably want a shielder in the party. It's not so much about the fear of taking damage, but more so that Ganyu doesn't get interrupted when charging her shots, as getting interrupted is a pretty big DPS loss. In Freeze, this is not a huge problem as you can use Diona, Layla, or Zhongli, but in Melt, justifying a shielder slot is significantly harder as you often want Xiangling, Bennett, and Kazuha, none of whom are shielders. You can of course substitute someone like Kazuha for Zhongli, but while this gives you more comfort, it also has a huge fall off in damage. However, with newer and stronger enemies making their appearances, such as the Consecrated Beasts in 12.1, who do a ton of damage and have a very good chance of interrupting you, Ganyu's playstyle has been a lot harder to use as of late if you don't have a good shielder teammate. That said, she does have a consistent stream of DPS, as she isn't super burst dependent, though as mentioned previously, her own raw damage without melt is a bit more normal in today's standards. Speaking of her teammates, Ganyu may or may not be a free-to-play friendly character, depending on the playstyle. For Melt, it's not too bad as Bennett and Xiangling are very easily obtainable, and those two are generally the most important teammates in Melt. If you play Freeze on the other hand, you are not gonna have a great time. Most good Freeze teammates are 5 stars, which include Shenhe, Mona, Kokomi, Kazuha, Venti, etc, etc. Ayaka also has a similar problem, but it's just the nature of a good AoE Freeze team. They aren't exactly the most free-to-play friendly team comp to play, as their free-to-play team member counterparts fall very far behind the 5 stars. However, while Ganyu's teammates aren't super free-to-play friendly, her weapon options are quite decent. Not only is her signature weapon, the Amos bow on the standard banner, which makes it much more accessible for many players, but her best 4-star DPS counterpart, the prototype Crescent, is craftable. If you play support Ganyu, the Favonius Warbow also exists and is always a solid option. She's also situationally good with pretty much any other 5-star bow out there, so at least on the weapons front, she's pretty stacked up. Finally, and most importantly, I want to talk about Ganyu's strength in relation to the current meta. I think there's just no roundabout way to say this, but for low spenders and free-to-plays, main DPS Ganyu just isn't very good in the meta right now. While her melt damage is very good, it's also equally tricky to play and requires a lot of parts to make it work. On the other hand, her freeze damage is really just not competitive these days. With how good Hyper Bloom is right now, the level of investment required to make a main DPS Ganyu team even match the damage floor of a Hyper Bloom one is just far too high for those who haven't been playing the game very long or are as invested. Ganyu is still a good cryo sub DPS in something like an Ayaka team, but using Ganyu as a main DPS is going to take a lot of work. And even half the level of investment into something like a good Hyper Bloom team is going to end up with very similar or even better results. Even though I've relied on Ganyu a lot in my early days of playing the game, I've slowly moved away from using her just because a lot of other characters are not just stronger, but also more comfortable to play. I know playstyle is something that's highly subjective, but her DPS potential is not. With high enough investment, she can be very strong, assuming equally strong supports. However, the meta has shifted greatly since the release of Dendro, and the reason Spiral Abysses have been getting harder and harder is likely due to the new DPS floor to investment ratio with many Dendro teams. Ganyu will have a harder time keeping up until you are able to hit that investment level where she can begin to overtake it. In summary though, is Ganyu worth pulling by today's standards? As I mentioned it at the start of the video, you should just pull her if you want. But from a meta perspective, it is a lot harder to justify her now than compared to a year ago. She has a bit of an outdated playstyle before C6, and her damage output is no longer as impressive as it once was relative to the investment required. I really like Ganyu, and I relied on her a lot, but I cannot give my recommendation to pull for her if you are looking to power your account up significantly. Anyways, I hope this video was useful in helping you make a decision, and for those who are going to pull Ganyu, I wish all of you the best of luck. May Ganyu want us, be Ganyu have us. Do check out twitch.tv/DukC as well, where I often stream Genshin Impact. Thanks once again for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.